Good morning, everyone. Yesterday at the Lapu Lapu Festival here in Vancouver, the Filipino community was attacked. There's some people in the streets, and a driver came in with his car and killed many people, injuring a lot of people as well. So we just want to start the show out with the 10 bell salute, and this tragedy shouldn't happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I just say this? That I've grown up with Filipino people my whole life, and they're the sweetest people around.
Yeah,
like I've never had a cross word with a Filipino person.
Yeah,
like they'll share their lunch with you. Like to me, this is the worst thing that could happen to that community.
Yeah. I agree. Halos up for everybody in Vancouver that is suffering and has grief.
I checked on my coworker who is Filipino, and he was very thankful that I did that. He didn't have any family there at the festival.
Thank God. Well, welcome to this week's edition of the All Effin' Wrestling Show. I am, of course, the Chief Shenanigans Officer. I'm also a secret agent. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just JFB, James from Boston.
And I am, of course, your Canadian hero. I am the patron saint of professional wrestling. I'm that gingered up, bubbly son of a bitch. I'm Canada effing dry. And I just wish you a happy Sunday. May your hearts be full.
Hell yeah. Besides this guy down here, he is the third.
You all know me.
Yeah.
I'm the EVP here on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Thankful. Heart goes out to everyone who suffered through that tragedy. Hopefully, God gives you the strength to be able to carry on.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's talk some wrestling stuff. I'm ready to be happy anymore.
Let's talk some wrestling.
What's with your background, Jimmy? Like you're on the set of
you like it?
I thought it was like Teletubbies or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Rainbows, baby.
Teletubbies.
I mean, the cool part about owning an Apple product is that they give you like so many options for your.
This is your homeless one underneath the bridge. This is the corporate.
Hey, we got that one. We got this one. I like this one. I'm going to keep this one. I like this one.
Yeah, that one's not bad. It looks like you got some cool winding staircase at your house.
I'm in the palatial estate of the JFB.
I don't know. This reminds me of Thor Ragnarok, where Korg is trying to rally everyone for the mutiny, and no one shows up.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. So, anyways, welcome to the show. Today, we got a great main event. But before we get into the main event, we have to talk about a little news.
From the four corners of the globe,
From our studios to your home, this is FNN, the FN News Network, starring Canada Dry and the JFB. Now, before we get into any kind of wrestling news, for those who follow the NFL and the NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns currently are having buyer's remorse. For those who don't know, Shedeur Sanders, he is the son of Deion Sanders, the coach of Colorado, was projected to be a top 5 pick. This guy was a 5th round pick and was drafted by the Cleveland Browns.
At like what, 144?
Yeah. So
he fell like rapidly. Why did he fall so far?
There's multiple reasons.
There's
One,
a couple theories.
He's got a horrible attitude. I mean, when I say a horrible attitude, probably one of the most worst attitudes an athlete can have. This guy thinks he is the shit. The other problem is he has no arm. This guy is a quarterback and can barely throw 40 yards. I can shoot a football out of my butt and go further than 40 yards.
An attitude you can fix, right?
Not necessarily. But there's also the stories are he tanked multiple interviews at the combine.
Yeah.
And then on top
but like falling so far in the draft, maybe that's a reality check.
Well, that's also like another theory that was floated is that they didn't want another Ball family issue where the dad was overshadowed, like just being larger than life and causing a lot of headaches for the team itself.
I met Deion Sanders many years ago. That cat has got attitude. I'm just saying.
I just want to give a shout out to Matt.
Yeah.
He got injured on Easter. He was playing wiffle ball, of all things, on Easter, and he slid into first base and broke his leg.
Oh, my God.
First off, Matt, I'm sorry you broke your leg, but rule number 1, you never slide into first base.
Never.
You just don't do it.
You don't. You run through. You don't slide into the first base.
Yeah.
Who are you, Ricky Henderson? My God. Anyways.
Did Ricky slide into first base before?
I imagine he did.
Has been known to slide into first base. Yeah. Like Ricky Henderson, no kidding. That guy took his...
I feel Ricky gets slide. Ricky's like the only person I would say could slide into first base and be successful.
Yeah. I've seen other people do it. And then what's interesting is I believe Mythbusters did an episode on this. Is it faster to just run through first base or to slide?
Yeah.
And I think they busted it. You just run through. It's faster than sliding.
Yeah.
But why you slide a second then?
Yeah, the problem is when you slide, you deal with friction, which causes you to decrease your acceleration and slow down.
You slide a second because you want to avoid the tag, right?
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
The funniest thing I ever saw was years and years and years ago. I went to a Pawtucket Red Sox game. So Pawtucket, which is in Rhode Island, it's a good 2-hour drive to get to Pawtucket from Boston. And I think they were playing like the Rochester Redbirds or something, but the guy from the Rochester Redbirds hit the ball and he hit it on the third base line. And the third baseman had to lean over and he picked up the ball and he was going to throw it. And the guy decided to slide into first base and came up about that short. That's why you don't slide into first base. Let's get to the news, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Charlotte Flair is in the news. She has been talking about repackaging her character because she feels like her character isn't relatable.
Really? Maybe if you didn't focus on just the championship.
This is about 10 years too late.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, but here's the thing. No one likes her. The fans don't like her. Most of the wrestlers backstage don't like her. I don't think her dad likes her.
Her dad loves her. Her dad's the only one. Remember they stole the show at WrestleMania?
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about Karrion Kross, shall we? Karrion Kross decided to go viral and bitch and complain about one, not being on WrestleMania while it's in his hometown of Las Vegas, and number two, the amount of TV time he's getting. So you know what happens? Triple H says, not a problem. I'm going to give you as much TV time as you can handle. So if you don't like Karrion Kross, you are going to hate the next few months of
Okay.
WWE.
I got to interject here, and I got to beat Triple H over the head here, because I swear to God, just last week, because first off, it's not just Karrion Kross, it's like all the support that he's got from people on the internet. But just last week, Triple H was saying, you people on the internet don't know anything, just need to shut up and enjoy the ride. And now all of a sudden, he's listening to the internet people and giving Karrion Kross more time. What a joke. He's a freaking hypocrite.
Yes, he is. So Gunther has been suspended. If those who don't follow WWE social media, Adam Pearce got on social media and dressed down the former world's heavyweight champion by fining him an undisclosed amount and then suspending him indefinitely, which means you're not going to see Gunther for a while. He asked for time off to be with his family. They granted it to him. That's why he is being written off of television. How long? Who knows? I would have liked to have seen where Gunther goes now that he lost the belt, but
I think it's a good chance, like, because it preserves the Gunther character. He loses the belt, he goes away, he comes back and just as dominant as ever.
Yep. Yeah.
So here's something I wanted to talk about. So Malachi Black makes his debut.
Yeah.
Sorry, Aleister Black. He makes his debut, and it's talked about less than Penta.
Really?
Yeah, like when he came back.
Yeah,
it wasn't really discussed on the show. Like Aleister Black returned. It was just this. It was probably this 5-minute segment.
Yeah.
And
you know why? It's because Aleister Black isn't doing anything interesting. He's going to feud with The Miz.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that. Miz could just be the first victim of Aleister Black.
Either way,
it could be a program with Carmelo Hayes,
but no one other than Cody and Penta got such praise in their debuts.
Yeah,
everyone else kind of like, they're here.
Yeah. So, speaking of somebody that might be signing with the WWE, someone's contract in AEW is up in a couple of months, and that is Mariah May. Rumor on the internet is that the WWE is going to basically back up a Brinks truck and dump bags and bags and bags of cash on Mariah May's lap for her to come in. I'm going to be honest. She is built for WWE. She is beautiful. She is a really good wrestler. And she's like 1,000 times better than Charlotte. Like if you want to find a way to get Charlotte to exit out the building, bring in Mariah May, because people are going to love Mariah May, period.
Yeah, I think like when you have people that they want to go, they want to use AEW as a stepping stone, that's fine.
Yeah.
There's other people that can get the time and be built into like. And here's the other thing: when there's someone leaving AEW, there's someone coming to AEW at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, there's a good chance Bayley shows up in AEW because she got screwed at Mania.
Oh yeah. Well, she's also really good friends with Sasha Banks as well. So that Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné.
It's hard to keep track of all these names, JFB. Aleister Black, Malachi Black, like geez.
It's like all up in the air, just juggling.
Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, like
So for all of those out there in the internet wrestling community who have been bitching and complaining about Joe Hendry being the opponent for Randy Orton at WrestleMania and not someone else like, say, Rusev or anybody else like that. Stop bitching and complaining. Randy Orton has come out and has publicly said, I picked Joe Hendry to wrestle me at WrestleMania. I picked him personally. So if all of you people out there bitching and complaining, stop.
I'm not bitching and complaining about it being Joe Hendry. I'm bitching and complaining about the lack of a match.
Oh, it was a horrible match.
It wasn't even a match. It was literally, 3 moves?
Yeah. It was a horrible WrestleMania. It might actually make the list. But
I'm telling you now, if you two don't pick it, spoiler alert, I will be picking it.
We have to be considering where on the list it goes.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. We don't want to shoot too early with some of these manias.
No, you don't. So now that we have a brand new Universal Champion by the name of John Cena, he's actually right behind me, but you can't see him. But he's there. People have been wondering where in the hell is Cody Rhodes, because the expectation was Cody Rhodes should probably show up at SmackDown. Well, that's not the case. Cody Rhodes is taking time off. He was spotted in Florida at Universal Studios, where he basically hung out with his wife and his daughter, riding rides, walking, doing family stuff with his family. So it may be a little bit before you see Cody Rhodes. I think, in all honesty, it should be a few months.
I agree. I think Cody Rhodes, he deserves a break.
Absolutely.
Maybe after Backlash, though. Maybe he shows up.
I don't think it, personally. I mean, I guess it depends on who they want to take the title off of Cena. Because if it is Cody, you can't wait until September to start building up Cody and Cena again.
I mean, in all honesty, I give a rat's ass. Cena is going to hold that title until December. Like, anybody who thinks that WWE is just going to go ahead and take that belt away from him, he has a firm point B. He has a final destination. The end of December, I am gone.
Look, they're not going to take the title off of Cena because it's easy booking for them.
Yeah.
They don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of WWE talent, many of them were not so much angry as they were confused by The Rock's reasoning for not being at WrestleMania. I can understand. The expectation is that you had this storyline built with The Rock, Cody, and Cena, and then The Rock just doesn't show up. He wasn't even in Vegas. Like, he was nowhere near WrestleMania, and it confused me. So can you imagine being talent backstage and you're like, oh man, this WrestleMania is going to be awesome. Where's The Rock? Where's The Rock? Where's The Rock?
At least you could have wrote The Rock out of the story by having Cody attack him or something.
Yeah. Could have beat him with his weight belt.
Yeah.
All right, I got one last thing in the news, and that is Alexa Bliss. Now, Alexa Bliss is a periodically talent wrestler. Like, since she's been married, and we have not seen a lot of Alexa Bliss. And we get little glimpses, like at the Royal Rumble, where she came in and was kind of a big surprise at the Rumble. And so everybody's wondering what the hell's going on with Alexa Bliss.
Didn't we get her at the last one too with the chamber or whatever?
Yeah, Elimination Chamber. Yeah. The word on the street is that WWE is waiting for when is the right time to bring back the Wyatt Six so that she can be the leader. That's the rumor. It's not been confirmed.
I don't know if I buy that.
I mean, let's be honest. Bo Dallas has about 0.000000001% of the talent and charisma.
I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly.
What?
He has not. He is very charismatic, and Bray Wyatt even said his brother's more talented.
I mean, but it doesn't matter. He's under a mask. You're not going to see his charisma.
Yeah, that's my point. You like this whole gimmick. He needs to have a microphone in front of his face.
Yeah,
and this Uncle Howdy gimmick. The mask needs to go. Be Uncle Howdy with the like.
No, I agree.
I think like for Bo Dallas, he just needs to speak on the mic.
Well, and what really sucks out of all of this is it's not Bo Dallas or Alexa Bliss that are suffering. It's what's her face? What's her name?
Nikki.
Yeah, Nikki Cross. You have Eric Rowan. You had what's his face? Yeah, Joe Gacy, and then what's his name? The big guy with the flat top.
The guy that looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin with blonde hair.
Huh?
Was it Dexter Lumis who was the
Yeah, Dexter Lumis. Yeah. So you have these guys who some of them were released and then rehired back by the WWE, and they're just sitting on the sidelines. They're not even doing house show loops. Like they are literally sitting at home being paid to do nothing. I feel like this is an Eric Bischoff deal. So you got to do one of two things, Triple H. You got to either push the living hell out of the Wyatt Six, or completely abandon this, because it's ridiculous that you hype up this amazing chance to carry on Bray Wyatt's legacy, and then you're just like, and we're just going to toss it to the side and we'll figure it out later. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's not good storytelling. Anyways, I digress. I'll get off my soapbox. I think it's time for us to get into the main event, because I think that we're going to spend a lot of time on the main event. So let's go to the main event. Woohoo! This is the main event of the evening. We are a week or two removed from the showcase.
Only a week.
Yeah, only a week from the showcase of the Immortals, otherwise known as WrestleMania.
Also known as the granddaddy of them all.
Now, not every wrestling show is going to be an A+. Some are just going to miss. That's just odds right there.
And some will just flat out suck.
Yeah, some are just flat out horrible. We decided we're going to go ahead and knock that out by going through the worst WrestleManias of all time. We're doing a draft style, which means that we had to go in the back. We had to get the bingo ball tumbler. I reached in, I pulled out Canada Dry. You go first. Who are you taking as the first worst WrestleMania, or your first pick?
Okay, so I'm selecting for the Cleveland Browns. No, just kidding.
With the 13th
I think that the 15th worst WrestleMania is WrestleMania 1.
Really? Okay.
Because it only gets 15 because it was the first time they did it.
Yes.
So it gets a tiny bit of a pass.
Yeah.
Not a full pass, but a tiny bit of pass. So it's going 15th on the list.
Okay.
So the card of that is, I'll read out this card and tell me what you guys think.
Yeah.
Tito Santana versus the Executioner. King Kong Bundy versus SD Jones in a squash match.
Yeah.
This match is pretty good. Ricky Steamboat versus Matt Bourne.
Mm-hmm.
Brutus Beefcake versus David Sammartino. Whatever happened to that guy? Greg Valentine versus the Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo versus Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
Andre's career versus $15,000 body slam match.
Yeah. Between Andre and what was his name?
I'm just risking his career on this.
Was that Big John Stud? That was the.
Yeah, it was Big John Studd. That's right.
The WWF Women's Title match: Wendy Richter versus Leilani Kea.
Yeah.
And the tag team main event: Paul Orndorff, Roddy Piper versus Hogan and Mr. T.
Yeah.
No world title defense.
Correct.
No, there isn't. Yeah. So, like, no world title defense on the first WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That to me is that to me is the biggest fail.
Yeah. I think the problem with WrestleMania 1, I went back and rewatched it yesterday. I rewatched it last night. Because I was curious if my memory would serve me over what actually really occurred. And that WrestleMania card was not that great. Like, with the exception of a match here and there, like the Matt Bourne match was really good. It was a great match.
The other thing is that you didn't have to put on a really big spectacular card back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think here's the thing. You got to understand, you got to realize there were a lot of factors when they were dealing with WrestleMania. Number one was Madison Square Garden is not huge. If you've ever been there for a sporting event or a wrestling event, it's not big. It doesn't hold a lot of people. The other thing is that Vince McMahon banked his entire fortune on WrestleMania because he saw that pay-per-view and closed circuit showings of it were going to, if it succeeded, was going to launch his company into the stratosphere, which it did.
That being said, there were bigger crowds for wrestling before this.
Yes.
Shea Stadium.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Joe, your thoughts on WrestleMania 1?
I fell asleep listening to you announce the card. That sounds like a boring-ass card. My God. It wasn't very good. It really wasn't.
And I get it. It's the first Mania. But given that I was born in 85, so I didn't really start watch wrestling until a couple years later, like, that is just a snooze. Good Lord.
Yeah. All right. Joe.
All right.
Your turn.
So,
number 14.
The 14th worst. I already have the card pulled up. But this is, and both nights, WrestleMania 36.
Ooh.
There's multiple things to this, and one of them is not their fault, but good Lord, the no crowd WrestleMania should be deleted off of the face of this planet.
That was the COVID. That was
COVID Mania, where there was no fans in attendance.
Yep.
So let's go over some of the matches on the card.
Yeah.
On the kickoff, there was Cesaro and Drew Gulak. Probably a good technical match, sure.
Yeah.
Then the women's tag match of Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. How fitting we're still talking about that 5 years later. Then we got Elias and King Corbin. The Raw Women's Championship of Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler, where Baszler should have won because she destroyed everybody in the chamber and then lost to Becky Lynch.
Yep.
Becky Hogan.
The Intercontinental Championship match of Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
And then probably the most egregious thing to happen on this Mania card. John Morrison versus Kofi Kingston versus Jimmy Uso. A triple threat ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
Yeah.
We're having the tag team titles defended in a non-tag team title match. Huh?
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then KO versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Bear with me. There's a few left. And then the great 24/7 championship of Mojo Rawley versus R-Truth. How that made it onto a WrestleMania card boggles my mind.
Yeah.
And then Canada Dry's match of the night. Braun Strowman versus Goldberg for the Universal title. Oh my God, that's only match one.
I don't know if this is too soon though. For
Listen, and then Boneyard match. That's just night one. I didn't even get into night two. Let's do some highlights of night two.
They put way more matches on this card.
Yeah.
And Charlotte Flair and Rhea for the NXT Women's title.
Yeah.
Edge and Norton in that last man standing match. Rob Gronkowski versus Mojo Rawley for the 24/7 title.
Again.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it had the Firefly Funhouse match. And then it has
That's
Drew
the one with
McIntyre.
Cena, right?
Yeah, that's one
I've never
we've
seen it. I never watched it because I
It
never watched it.
wasn't bad. It was entertaining.
It's really good. It really was good.
And then there was Drew McIntyre versus Brock for the WWE title, which should have been the main event, but WWE will say then Drew defended the title against Big Show, I think, right after.
Yep.
So, there's just a lot of filler on this card.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I feel like you might have put this one on too soon.
I don't know. I mean, I think this card would have been better if there was fans in attendance. Honestly.
Yeah, I feel like
I think because COVID is the biggest driver of this being a bad card, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think you would have got a lot of those on there had it not been for COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they just, hell, everyone go and do a match.
Yeah. I mean, the problem was COVID. I mean, no one could have anticipated the effect that COVID was going to have in the world. It wasn't just the United States that's dealing. Everybody in the world
It was worldwide
down to get through COVID. And I think Vince kind of looked at it as, we're not going to have fans in attendance, so let's just experiment. And I think that was the problem, is they tried to experiment too much and it just went all the crap. Because I with the exception of the Firefly Funhouse match, there was not a match on there that I enjoyed at all. I mean, I left it pretty much like this is.
Look, my reasoning for picking this is because this was a bad card without fans, where I have bad cards with fans.
Yeah.
So that's the determining factor for me.
All right. I'm going to go next. So, Vince McMahon, coming off of the high of WrestleMania 1, sits in his office and says, I'm going to take 3 darts. I'm going to throw them at a map of the United States, and I'm going to come up with 3 venues for one WrestleMania. I'm going to go to Uniondale, New York at Nassau Coliseum, Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, and Los Angeles, California. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the number 13th worst WrestleMania, WrestleMania Dose. Here is the card. Paul Orndorff versus the Magnificent Morocco. Randy Savage versus George the Animal Steel. Jake the Snake Roberts versus George Wells, who I don't know who George Wells is. Like, why is Jake the Snake? And here's the thing: is that that was Nassau Coliseum, and then you had Mr. T with Joe Frazier beating Roddy Piper in a boxing match. That was in
via disqualification.
Yeah, that was in Nassau Coliseum in New York. What happened in Chicago? You had the Fabulous Moolah defeating Velvet McIntyre, which I think that's Drew's mom. You had Corporal Kirchner defeating Nikolai Volkov with Freddie Blassie in tow. Andre the Giant won by eliminating Bret Hart in a WWF versus NFL Battle Royal.
Gosh.
The Fridge Perry, he was really good in that, by the way.
He was really good, yes. And then you had the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid, with Captain Lou Albano and Ozzy Osbourne, by the way. The Prince of Darkness showed up for this, taking on the dream team of Greg the Hammer Valentine and Brutus Beefcake with Jimmy Valiant. Now, you think to yourself, well, crap. What happened in Los Angeles? Well, I'll tell you exactly.
But that match, I would say, would probably be the match of the card of the whole steal the whole show.
What?
The tag team match.
Oh, the British Bulldogs? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would probably be the highlight of the whole show.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat takes on Hercules Hernandez. Adrian Adonis beat Uncle Elmer.
Who?
Uncle Elmer.
He is part of the Hellbilly Jim family.
Yeah.
A little bit before my time.
Terry and Haas Funk defeated Tito Santana and the Junkyard Dog. And then a steel cage match for the World Heavyweight Championship pitted Hulk Hogan against King Kong Bundy with Bobby Heenan in tow. This was not only a logistical nightmare, running 3 shows at the same time, where they would go one match, second match. That's what they did. They bounced back and forth. Oh. So if you're a fan of Los Angeles, you might be waiting a while before the next match comes up.
How horrible would that be? Well, at least they had a closed caption on the.
They did have a closed caption going on.
No,
yes.
that.
You could stay home and watch closed caption. I ain't paying to see live events to watch the TV for.
Well, I'm sure back then WrestleMania 1 and 2 tickets were a little more affordable than they are today.
I mean, are they? It's not. I mean, because if you go back to the 80s, and yeah, it might be 1/5 the price it is now, but I guarantee you the income was 1/5 of, if not worse, than what it is now. So
true.
So yeah, that was a pretty bad WrestleMania.
That was horrible. I mean, that's a turd on a plate, and you're dressing it up to look like.
Was that 13?
That was number 13. Yeah, I
number
mean,
12.
Huh? Yeah, you're number 12.
Drives number 12.
For my number 12, I'm going with WrestleMania number 12. This card had a World Tag Team Tournament final with the Body Donnas, Skip and Zip with Sonny. They defeated the Godwins to become the new tag team champions. There was a 6-man tag match. Owen Hart, the Bulldog, and Vader versus Ahmed Johnson, Jake Roberts, and Yokozuna. A Hollywood Backlog Brawl match with Roddy Piper defeating Goldust.
Yeah.
Where you don't see half the match because they're driving around downtown.
Yeah. Steve Austin with Ted DiBiase defeats Savio Vega. This is before he's Stone Cold.
Yeah, this is when he was the
Stunning Steve.
Yeah. And we have a squash match. The Ultimate Warrior squashes Triple H. Yep. This is kind of the highlight of the show.
Well, that was in retaliation for the
curtain call, right?
The curtain call. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's way before that.
No, because Triple H was supposed to win King of the Ring. Or was it before that? I can't remember.
I think it was before that.
I think it was before it, yeah.
And you had Undertaker versus Diesel.
Mm-hmm.
The highlight of the whole show is the 60-minute Iron Man match with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels.
You did forget one match. The Huckster versus the Nacho Man with Billionaire Ted as the special guest.
Was this this was a fun, like a gimmick match, right?
Yeah.
God, that was horrible. This was pretty bad.
Yeah.
That there was that the Iron Man match on there.
The Iron Man match was amazing because they built it correctly. They built it as
We
good.
know EVP Joe is not a fan of the Iron Man match,
I am not.
but
Oh!
considering how bad this card is, it must have been like a nice and cold glass of water compared to.
I mean, right, it is, but it's not good enough to get it off of the worst WrestleMania list. Obviously,
no, it's not.
No. I mean, I think you're going to see a recurring theme when we're talking about these WrestleManias, where there are good matches. It's just the overall show just suffered greatly.
Who we talking about? Velvet was pretty good. I've seen her matches before.
Velvet McIntyre.
Oh, it's odd that Tiffany knows who Velvet McIntyre is.
Yeah. Oh my God. You know what? I mean, in all honesty, these were not the great years for WWE. Now you had Shawn Michaels, you had Bret Hart, you had other guys that were kind of playing into the system that were going to help lead WWE to the next level, but this was kind of not a great era for WWE. I think they were, you lose Hogan, you're trying to figure out how to put the strap the rocket on someone that can carry the company now that you don't have Hulk Hogan. That was the problem. You didn't have Hulk Hogan anymore. And I think that is what made WWE suffer for a lot of those WrestleManias, is you didn't have a quarterback. You didn't have a QB1. You didn't have a main event guy. Like Shawn Michaels wasn't really in that position yet. Neither was Bret. I mean, both of them, that's still early in their careers. I mean, they, really, you didn't get WrestleMania 12's Bret Hart was really good, but his run on 13 was better.
Yeah. EB Joe, what is your number 11?
So I have a toss up between a couple, but I think I'm going to go off this is one I was considering.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going off the board.
Oh, he's going off the board.
Well, off of what I had written down. But now the more I get to think about it, I want to go with WrestleMania 16.
Okay.
Not one single one-on-one match. Y'all ready for this list of matches?
Hit me.
Bull Buchanan and Boss Man beat D'Lo Brown and The Godfather. Hardcore Holly.
Which Mania is this?
WrestleMania 16.
Damn it, I was going to pick that one.
Then you have Hardcore Holly winning a Hardcore Championship Battle Royal. TNA defeated Head Cheese. Edge and Christian defeated the
Who's Head Cheese, by the way?
Head Cheese was Al Snow and Steve Blackman.
Yes.
Yeah. Then you have probably obviously the highlight of this: Edge and Christian defeating the Dudleys and the Hardys in the first unofficial TLC match, a triangle ladder match.
What was the deal with they had a European title thing and Intercontinental Triple Threat?
Yep.
With Jericho and Benoit were in both?
Yep. That's coming. Then we had Terry defeating the Cat in a cat fight, was the official title. And then China and Too Cool beating the Radicals.
Yeah.
And then we had the 2-fall triple threat match. Chris Benoit defeated Jericho and Angle for the IC title, and Jericho defeated Benoit and Angle for the European title because Kurt Angle was a Euro Continental champion at the time.
Oh, yeah. That's bad.
And then Kane and Rikishi defeated DX. And then Triple H defeated The Rock, Mick Foley, and Big Show with a McMahon in every corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, this WrestleMania should be called Bingo Ball WrestleMania because I think Vince just wanted to see how many wrestlers he could get in the card. Like, I think he randomly walked up to people and said, "Hey, you want to be in WrestleMania? You're going to tag with The Undertaker even though you have no relation or storyline with The Undertaker, we're going to put you guys together. You're going to take on these two guys. And I'm just going to pick them at random. Like, it doesn't make sense at all. And the whole Intercontinental European title thing was bullshit. It was horrible. Like, you had two amazing technical wrestlers in Chris Benoit and in Chris Jericho at that time. And to put them in this stupid match that makes no sense whatsoever. Ugh, I don't even want to talk about it. It's going to make me sick.
Okay, so number 9.
No. No, 10.
10.
Yeah.
Yours was 11. Yeah.
All right. We are going to go to Paradise, Las Vegas. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to go to Las Vegas, Nevada, Caesar's Palace. They did a documentary about this. I'm talking about WrestleMania 9. Because
I don't know, JFD. I think you're pulling this one too soon. This to me is really bad.
It's really, really bad. But to me, there are even worse WrestleManias than WrestleMania 9. The only reason why I put it up is because the documentary that came out for it this year to celebrate its anniversary or whatever, or it's because it's, they were going back to Vegas for this year's WrestleMania. They did this really good documentary with a lot of behind the scenes of the wrestlers showing you what it takes to create WrestleMania. So I'm going to go through the card really quickly. You had Tito Santana versus Papa Shango. You had Tatanka with Sensational Sherry beating Shawn Michaels for the
by DQ.
Yeah, by DQ.
Yeah, that's important because some of these finishes are bad.
Yeah. You have actually it was not a DQ, it was the count out.
Oh, same thing. Title didn't change hands.
Yeah.
The Steiner brothers taking on the Head Shrinkers. Doink the Clown with another Doink the Clown beating Crush. Razor Ramon decided, I'm going to beat up the octogenarian at that time known as Bob Backlund. Like, that didn't make any sense. You have one of your hottest talents, and you're going to go against a guy whose salary is being subsidized by AARP, okay? And he can get...
He was only 40 back then, JV.
He was not. He was like 75. The guy's like 280 years old right now. You had Money Inc., Ted DiBiase, and IRS beating the Mega Maniacs by DQ. Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. You had Lex Luger.
And let me say, that match went on forever.
Which one?
The Mega Maniacs.
Yeah. 18 minutes.
It must have went on for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
18 minutes to end in DQ.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have Lex Luger beating Mr. Perfect. You have The Undertaker beating Giant Gonzalez. You have Yokozuna.
Well, let me say, he beat the hell out of The Undertaker, and then Undertaker came back.
Yeah.
It was still a bad match.
Yeah. Then you have...
Yeah.
And you have probably the worst main event ever of all time. Bret Hart took on Yokozuna. For some reason, Hulk Hogan comes out and Bret tells him, go in and win it for us. And Hogan goes in, 3 moves, leg drop, and we have a new champion, Hulk Hogan beating Yokozuna. Bret Hart has come out publicly many times about 2 things. How much he hates Bill Goldberg and how much he hated that Hulk Hogan won the championship when he should have won it. Because that's what should have happened. Why in the world did you put Hulk Hogan in there at that WrestleMania?
Well, even if Yokozuna would have retained, would have been fine and would have got a good run.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah.
Brett doesn't have a tan.
Now, what's even better about WrestleMania, if you didn't watch the documentary, it's on Peacock. When the show is over and we've said our goodbyes, get on Peacock and watch that documentary. Hulk Hogan had a visible black eye. Now, there's two different stories. Story one is that Hulk Hogan, according to Hulk Hogan, was riding a jet ski with Brutus the Barber Beefcake, who, by the way, in WrestleMania 9, had to wear a titanium mask because a jet ski tore his face off.
Parasailing,
yeah. So Hulk Hogan says that he hit a wave, and he flipped over the jet ski, and that's what caused the black eye. Other wrestlers have come out and said Macho Man punched Hulk Hogan in the face because Macho Man did not like Hulk Hogan in real life. He hated Hulk Hogan. So, I mean, what do you guys think? WrestleMania 9.
I think that this is way too soon, but I think it could have been way worse. But it was bad.
It was.
To me, this is the worst WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's horrible.
Yeah. And what's so weird is that WrestleMania 9 is kind of when they start going bigger production value at WrestleMania.
The best thing about 9 was all the togas. That's it.
Nothing like watching the guy from Oklahoma, Jim Ross, coming out in a toga, or Gorilla Monsoon in a toga, or Bobby Heenan in a toga, riding a camel backwards. Like, how do you make that better? I don't know.
You don't.
You just don't. All right, Canada Dry, you are next. Number 9.
I'm going with WrestleMania 41.
Ooh.
See, I think this is a little too early for Mania 41.
No, because WrestleMania is so 9 that I'm like, I have to use this now. He forced my hand. I don't need to read the card. Everyone knows it. It was last week.
Yeah.
I think you had about 2 good matches on there.
Yeah.
The Seth Rollins,
I would argue
Intercontinental title, the Paul Heyman screw job.
Yeah.
Other than that,
I like the U.S. title match. I thought that was fun. Could have been longer, but
the women's triple threat match was pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that was the best. That was the best match.
The most problem of the matches were they're all too short and not dramatic enough.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. This was 9.
Yeah, number 9. Yep.
So
you're 41.
Joe, you got number 8.
Well, wait. What?
No, we got to give our commentary on.
Okay, go ahead, Joe. What do you think about WrestleMania?
So much. Like I said, most of the matches were just ended very abruptly. I agree. They never were given the chance to get into like that third or fourth gear.
Yeah.
Like Jay Uso and Gunther. I can't stand the fact that Jay hit two super kicks, 2 spears, 3 splashes, and Gunther just got right up and no-sold all of that, only to get choked out immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
it probably needed another 7 minutes to really get that match going.
Yeah, 5 to 7 minutes would have been fine.
Yeah.
And like I said, like there was just some match, like a lot of these just felt like they could have been Raw or SmackDown TV matches. There was, like, to me, WrestleMania has this an inherent bias of grandiose, and there was very few. Even Cena, like the Cena match, it sucked. Like even the entrance, like there was nothing grand about it.
Yeah,
it was just another pay-per-view for Cody coming out in that god awful, stupid wannabe Iron Man helmet.
Yeah,
and Cena coming out to nothing. It's your last Mania. Like, I get you want to ruin wrestling, but it's Mania, dude. Like, there's an expectation that you have to uphold. And this company failed miserably at it.
Yeah.
Can we go over the list of which manias that we
have picked so far?
Yeah. So number 15 is WrestleMania 1. Number 14 is WrestleMania 36. 13 is WrestleMania number 2. 12th was WrestleMania 12. 11 was WrestleMania 16. Number 10 was WrestleMania 9. Number 9 was WrestleMania 41, which we're at right now. My problem I love watching WrestleMania because I like seeing these amazing entrances, like Rusev coming to the ring in a tank, Seth Rollins with a Zydeco band in tow. And they didn't have any of that. Like, there was no really big entrance. There was no really big moment.
Even Logan Paul, the guy known for entrances.
Yeah.
Didn't
for
do
me, what ruined WrestleMania, besides just a really shitty card, was Jey Uso should not have won the world's heavyweight championship. He's not a good wrestler. I mean, he's charismatic as hell, and that's where you want to go, and that's the direction you want to go, then great. But at some point, he has to wrestle. And he's not a good wrestler. He's just not a good wrestler. So for me, this was just like, it ruined the entire 2 nights, was that first match on night 1. So number 8.
Okay. I don't know. We did not discuss these picks beforehand, so I don't know how you all are going to respond to this.
Yeah.
But I went with WrestleMania 4.
Okay.
Which was the night-long tournament for the new title.
Yeah.
And I only say this because I'm going to read these matches, and I'm going to give you the times of these matches. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Well, first off, Bad News Brown in 10 minutes and 40 seconds wins a Battle Royal. Okay, cool. Ted DiBiase beats Jim Duggan in 4 minutes and 54 seconds. Don Morocco defeats Dino Bravo in 4 minutes and 53 seconds. Greg Valentine defeats Ricky Steamboat in 9 minutes and 12 seconds.
Yeah.
That's not a bad choice. The booking, Ricky Steamboat loses. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is when he was mad at. This is when Vince was mad at Ricky Steamboat.
Yeah.
Then we got Randy Savage defeats Butch Reed in 5 minutes and 7 seconds. One Man Gang defeats Bam Bam Bigelow via countout in 2 minutes and 56 seconds.
Oh, what could have been a really good match?
And probably the best, Jake Roberts versus Rick Rude ends in a 15-minute time limit draw.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior defeats Hercules in 4 minutes and 29 seconds. Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan ends in a double DQ in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. Then Ted DiBiase beats Don Morocco in 5 minutes and 44 seconds. Randy Savage beats Greg Valentine in 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And then we get a little break from the tournament. The IC title, Brutus Beefcake defeated Honky Tonk Man via DQ in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Bobby Heenan and the Islanders defeated Coco Beware and the British Bulldogs in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Randy Savage defeats One Man Gang in 4 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Then Demolition defeats Strikeforce in 12 minutes and 33 seconds for the tag titles. And then Randy Savage beats Ted DiBiase to win the WWE title in 9 minutes and 27 seconds.
Which Hulk Hogan interfered in to interject.
My issue is every match was so short. My gosh.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, if you're going to do a one-night tournament, don't use so many people.
Yeah.
Like,
that's my takeaway from this.
Yeah.
They had that was the first WrestleMania that was 4 hours.
Yeah.
Because it seemed at the time they were doing every WrestleMania add an hour to it at the time.
Yeah.
This is 2 discs, two VHS cassettes to put this out there.
The best match on that card was the Rick Rude and Jake the Snake Roberts match.
Yeah, the one that went to a time limit draw.
Yeah, they should have had a.
Yeah, they should have given you a winner, but the build up to that match was fantastic, especially with Rick Rude airbrushing Jake the Snake Roberts on his tights, or Jake the Snake Roberts' wife on his tights. He really got into Jake the Snake Roberts' head, and it was fantastic. It was brilliant storytelling. All right, I guess it's my turn.
I have a question. Which one did you pick last, Canada Dry?
I don't know. 41.
41. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go with WrestleMania 5.
Damn it, Dippy! I was going to pick that.
Here's the now. Keep in mind that WrestleMania 4 and 5 were at the same place. They were both in Atlantic City at Trump's casinos. Here's the card. You have Hercules beating King Haku, the Twin Towers, Akeem the Dream, and the Big Boss Man with Slick defeating the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. Brutus Beefcake and Ted DiBiase in a double countout. The Bushwhackers beating the Fabulous Rougeaus. Mr. Perfect defeated the Blue Blazer. Demolition defeats the Powers of Pain.
Okay, question real quick.
Yeah.
Blue Blazer, was that Owen at the time, or was that someone else?
Yeah, that was Owen. Yep. Dino Bravo versus Ronnie Garvin. The Brainbusters beating Strike Force. Jake the Snake Roberts beating Andre the Giant by disqualification, by the way. The Hart Foundation beating Rhythm and Blues. Rick Rude defeating the Ultimate Warrior. Bad News Brown and Jim Duggan ended in a double disqualification. The Red Rooster beating Bobby Heenan with the Brooklyn Brawler. Whoa, what a match to send it up to the main event, which is Hulk Hogan beating Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth in a neutral corner.
That was what Mega Powers Explode, right?
Yeah. With the exception of the Rick Rude and Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan versus Savage, the rest of that card sucked. I mean, it was horrible. It was a crime against wrestling. That was just flat out horrible. What do you think, Canada Dry?
It was atrocious. Definitely worse than the WrestleMania that EVP Joe mentioned.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, what are you going to do? What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, that sounds like another one that I won't go back and rewatch. It feels like they took a lot of the endings from 4 and just copy and pasted the 5 with the DQ.
Let's do it again. We'll give them an extra 25 seconds each.
All right, Canada Dry, you got number 6.
All right. We're going with WrestleMania 25.
Ooh, 25.
Now, you got the pre-show. The World Tag Team titles / the WWE Tag Team titles are unified. Oh, it was a unification lumberjack match. Carlito Primo versus John Morrison and The Miz. Money in the Bank ladder match. Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad.
3-on-1 handicap match. This was actually pretty good with Jericho versus Piper versus Steamboat versus Snuka.
Yeah.
Extreme Rules match. Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. This was like another one of those bad endings to a brother feud.
Yeah.
Intercontinental title match. JBL versus Rey Mysterio.
That was his retirement. That was JBL's retirement match.
Yep.
Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. This was good. World Heavyweight title, triple threat match. Edge versus John Cena versus Big Show. And WWE World Heavyweight Title match: Triple H versus Randy Orton.
Oh yeah, that match was boring.
It was slow and
that was the one where Stephanie gets handcuffed to the ropes and Orton kisses her, and the buildup was Orton stalking them, and Triple H broke into their into Orton's house and everything, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, it was not a good WrestleMania. The problem with the early WrestleManias, with the exception of WrestleMania 3, which I think a lot of people will agree was probably one of the greatest WrestleMania cards of all time, the problem you ran into in the first bunch of WrestleManias is you had your champion, Hulk Hogan, and you had no one to go against him. Like Big Boss Man, King Kong Bundy, like they just kept, it was like the flavor of the week, like in Supernatural, like who's the monster
of the week.
The other problem you run into when you get into the mid parts of WrestleMania, like WrestleMania 18 through 30, is it wasn't a definitive era. Like, the Attitude Era added chaos to WrestleMania, but it didn't make it great. Like WrestleMania was just at that time. So I think problem with 25 is it just suffered from just not having a solid foundation. I feel like they just, like I said, bingo ball booking. Like they just kind
of. Is Stone Cold not around at this time?
Who?
Oh, yeah, Stone Cold's retired, isn't he?
Yeah. All right, Joe. Let's go. Number 5.
All right. Number 5 is WrestleMania 27.
Ooh, 27.
There is some people say the worst WrestleMania match ever on this card, which we will get to. But the show starts out with Edge retaining his World Heavyweight title against Alberto Del Rio that he would then go on to vacate on the SmackDown afterwards. Cody Rhodes defeating Rey Mysterio. Kane, Kofi Kingston, Santina Marella, and The Big Show defeating The Core in 1 minute and 33 seconds.
Ooh.
Then we got Orton and Punk, which was a good match.
Yeah.
But then, like they said, probably the worst match in Mania history. Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler with Stone Cold as the special guest referee, where Stone Cold counts the 3 for Lawler, and then the anonymous Raw GM reverses the decision.
Yeah.
Garbage. And then we got No Holds Barred, Taker, and Triple H. And then John Morrison, Snooki, and Trish Stratus beating Lay Cool and Dolph Ziggler. And then I don't remember what match you said was the worst in WWE main event WWE, but this one gives a run for its money, and it is The Miz beating John Cena with the WrestleMania host John The Rock getting involved.
Yeah,
like this is bad because the main event isn't even about the WWE champion, The Miz. It's literally there just to set up Rock and Cena.
Yeah,
and then like you just have some other really bad matches on that card. Like, and like you said, like it's how you leave them. And that Mania main event was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I agree with you. It's a turd and a half. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a bigger turd than the one I'm getting ready to drop, but it was
2 turds is what you're saying.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Canada Dry, on WrestleMania?
Yeah, that was pretty bad. The main event, where the champion isn't the main character, is pretty bad.
So I'm gonna go back in my time machine to Y2K, WrestleMania 16 in the year 2000. It was a steaming pile of crap. Here we go. This is the card. You had Big Boss Man and Bull Buchanan beating the Godfather and D'Lo Brown with Ice-T and the Ho Train in tow. You had Hardcore Holly beating Crash Holly in the Hardcore Battle Royal. Here's how
I hate to tell you, JFB already picked this card.
Did you? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
you did. I'm sorry. I take it back. All right.
I was like, wait, these matches sound familiar.
JFB's been, JFB is tired.
Look, it was so bad JFB wanted to list it twice.
It was so bad I wanted to list it again. Actually, I'm gonna go with I know which one I'm gonna go with. Hold on. Let me pull it up on my awesome meter because this one was a turd too. So we're gonna go to Indianapolis, Indiana, WrestleMania number 8. Here's the card.
Wait, didn't I already select this?
Nope.
No, you
Yeah,
did
we
not.
probably did.
I've been deleting them as we've been talking about them.
Here's the
WrestleMania
card.
was a bad one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You have the Bushwhackers beating the Beverly Brothers. You have Shawn Michaels defeating Tito Santana. The Undertaker defeating Jake Roberts. Bret Hart beating Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental Championship, which was a
good match.
Yeah, 13 minutes, 51 seconds. Great match. You have Big Boss Man Virgil, Sergeant Slaughter, and Jim Duggan beating the Mountie, the Nasty Boys, and the Repo Man. You have Randy Savage beating Ric Flair for the WWF Championship. Now, the question is that the main event? Nope, it was not the main event. You have Tatanka defeating Rick Martel. The Natural Disasters defeated Money Inc. Owen defeated Skinner. And then you have Hulk Hogan beating Sid Justice by disqualification for no belt. So the World Championship is 3 matches earlier than you main eventing Hulk Hogan because you want to stroke his ego. It's bullshit. It's bullcrap. This was a horrible card, with the exception of Bret and Roddy, which I thought put on probably one of the better shows in that time frame. You don't have that with the rest of this card. This thing was just a steaming pile of crap. Anyone else want to add to that?
It was pretty bad.
I think you got it covered.
All right. So instead of Canada Dry going next, I want Canada Dry to come up with the number 1 worst WrestleMania of all time. So we're going to reverse the snake order. I'm going first, and I am picking WrestleMania number 7. This thing was absolutely atrocious. It's from Los Angeles, California. Here's the card. You have Coco Beware beating the Brooklyn Brawler. You have the Rockers beating the Barbarian and Haku. The Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, but he wasn't known as Kerry Von Erich. He was known as the Texas Tornado, beating Dino Bravo. The British Bulldog defeated the Warlord. You have the Nasty Boys beating the Hart Foundation for the WWF Tag Team Championships. Jake Roberts beats Rick Martel. Undertaker beats Jimmy Snuka. The Ultimate Warrior beat Randy Savage, which was a retirement match, which means that Randy Savage had to retire. You have, and I'm going to butcher these names, Genichiro Tenryu and Koji Kateo beat Demolition by pinfall. You have Big Boss Man with Andre the Giant beating Mr. Perfect with Bobby Heenan by a disqualification. You have Earthquake beating Greg the Hammer Valentine. The Legion of Doom beating Power and Glory. Virgil with Roddy Piper beating Ted DiBiase by countout. You have the Mountie beating Tito Santana. And then for the Heavyweight Championship, you have Hulk Hogan And because Vince didn't have a convincing bad guy to go against him, decided to go ahead and turn Sergeant Slaughter heel. Hulk Hogan beats Sergeant Slaughter with Joe Adnan for the WWF Championship. Canada Dry, you go first. Your thoughts on
that yeah, it was a big steamy pile of crap.
Yeah.
That main event,
Yeah.
I think Sergeant Slaughter was way past his prime at that point.
That man was past his prime in the 60s. The problem, and again, this is the issue with WrestleManias 1 through when Hulk leaves, is that you didn't have a convincing heel that could make you think Hogan could possibly lose. Like, you just didn't. Like, you shot your load at WrestleMania 3 with Hogan beating Andre the Giant, and you made Hulk Hogan bigger than the sport at that point. And then you painted yourself in the corner. Vince is like, holy shit, what the hell are we going to do? Let's take Sergeant Slaughter and let's make him a bad guy. Let's get King Kong Bundy in here for a quick run. Like, it's just like these WrestleManias don't make sense. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, that main event was putrid. Like,
Yeah.
I've ranted about this. Why? Just because there's a war going on doesn't mean you turn Sergeant Slaughter heel to be a freaking Iraqi sympathizer. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Yep.
Like, that's my biggest takeaway from this. Like, that angered me. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
There's plenty of ways that you could turn the military people heel, because Lord knows they don't have the greatest reputation, military people around the world. It's not hard. You don't need to sit there and make him a freaking Iraqi sympathizer who was the biggest villain in the world at the time, picking on defenseless Kuwait. I mean,
all right, Joe, you are next. What is the second worst WrestleMania?
Okay, we are going with, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm really not, WrestleMania 39.
Yeah.
There's just so much. To start the night off, Austin Theory defeating John Cena in a god-awful match. Like, just horrible.
Yeah.
And then just a random tag team match. You had the Street Profits beating Braun Strowman and Ricochet, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders. Just literally just a tag team match thrown on to get people on the card.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins beats Logan Paul. Then you had Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch defeating Damage Control.
Yeah.
I like this one. Rey Mysterio beating Dominic with Rey whipping his boy with a belt. That was great. Rhea Ripley defeating Charlotte. And then Pat McAfee beating The Miz in like 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yep.
Now, I will defend the main event. I love the main event of night one. And it's Sammy and KO beating the Usos to win the undisputed tag team titles.
Yep.
Which should have just steamrolled into night two.
Yep.
So we start night two off with Brock Lesnar versus Omos. Not it. And then to counter the men's WrestleMania Showcase tag team, we had the women's, where Ronda and Shayna defeated Liv Morgan and Raquel, Natalya and Shotzi, and Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. I don't even remember half these tag teams. And then probably the best match of night two, Gunther beating Sheamus and Drew for the IC title in that banger of a triple threat match.
Yeah, that was a good match.
Bianca beat Asuka by pinfall. And then Snoop Dogg beating The Miz because Shane tore his quads.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then Edge beating Finn Balor in Hell in a Cell when Balor clearly should have won that match.
Oh, yeah.
And then the main event, which should have complemented night one, should have seen Cody winning the world title at WrestleMania 39, not at 40. But no, you had freaking the air just get let out of the stadium with Roman Reigns defending his title. For apps other than just to say, oh, longest reigning modern champion, I don't care. It was bad.
I'm gonna disagree with you, and here's the reason why. You bring Cody back to the WWE, and he's not the Cody Rhodes that left WWE when he was Stardust and all this other crap he went through. You're bringing back probably one of the hottest free agents, and you're going to make him the guy. But to make him accessible to the masses, you have to have your hero get beat at least once on his way to his ultimate goal. And I think what they did was brilliant because
that being said, you didn't like the card though.
Oh, the card was horrible. That card, I mean, with the exception of like KO and Sammy beating the Usos
and the triple threat match.
The rest of it was just not good. The entrances were better than most of the matches that were at that show.
It was hot garbage.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and finally,
how about we read out before the last one?
Okay.
The full list?
Yeah, Jeffy.
All right. So, number 15 was WrestleMania 1. Number 14 was WrestleMania 36 from Joe. I picked WrestleMania 2 at 13. Number 12 by Canada Dry was WrestleMania 12. What a coincidence. Number 11 from Joe was WrestleMania 16. Number 10 was WrestleMania 9 by myself. Number 9 was WrestleMania 41, Canada Dry. Number 8 was WrestleMania 4 by Joe. I followed up with WrestleMania 5 at number 7. Canada Dry picked WrestleMania 25 at number 6. Joe picked WrestleMania 27 at number 5. I picked WrestleMania 8. And then for number 3, I picked WrestleMania number 7. Joe picks WrestleMania 39, which means we
now I would prefer that this was WrestleMania 9, but since it was already selected, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm selecting WrestleMania 38.
Okay.
As the worst WrestleMania. And let me just read this card. The Usos defeat Shinsuke Nakamura and Ricky Boogs.
Oh, where Boogs tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre defeated Happy Corbin. The Miz and Logan Paul defeated Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Bianca Belair defeated Becky Lynch. Cody Rhodes defeated Seth freaking Rollins.
Yep.
Charlotte Flair defeated Ronda Rousey by pinfall. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated Kevin Owens. RK Bro defeated the Street Profits. Bobby Lashley defeated Osmos. Almost. Whoever the hell he is.
Almost.
Not close.
Johnny Knoxville defeated Sami Zayn. Sasha Banks and Naomi defeated Carmella and Queen Zelina. And Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and Natalya and Shayna Baszler by pinfall. Edge defeated AJ Styles. Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeated the New Day. Pat McAfee defeated Austin Theory. What's so bad about that? Mr. McMahon defeated Pat McAfee. And Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar.
Oh.
That was a snooze fest. Like there's nothing that really sticks out. Like at least for me, that was like that's the fantastic match.
Yeah. There's been some stinkers over the years.
Yeah. I mean, you had a couple of decent matches that were surrounded by a moat of sewage. It was not a good WrestleMania. This was the first WrestleMania where they had a live audience after COVID, right? If I'm not mistaken.
This was 3 years ago.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean,
this is 4 years ago.
Yeah. It just was not good. Like, there was nothing on there that would convince me that I needed to keep watching wrestling, WWE after WrestleMania.
Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar again.
Yeah, again. Oh God, that was freaking horrible.
Can I throw out an honorable mention that I thought about saying?
Yeah,
but it is the WrestleMania that clearly led to us having 2 nights of WrestleMania.
Yeah,
that is WrestleMania 35.
Yeah,
which was headlined by the women's triple threat at like 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just so long. Like, it's not that WrestleMania was bad. It's just that it was so long.
Yeah. I think the problem with your latest batches of WrestleMania over the last few years is that you're not challenging your wrestlers to go out and just blow the roof off. You know, like, there are great WrestleMania moments and there are great WrestleManias like WrestleMania 3. But the problem you run into is, like, it's missing something. I don't think it needs to be 2 nights anymore. I think you need to go to your wrestlers at the day before WrestleMania and say, this is your opportunity to showcase who you are to the world. Because there are people who will only watch WrestleManias and that's it. And they won't keep up with current storylines. So you have people who are like, I'm just going to watch WrestleMania. I'm a casual wrestling fan. You gotta go out there and tear the roof down. And they don't. And that's why we created this list.
I think the big problem is the fluff in between the matches.
Oh, now it
Yeah.
Because, like, it's really hampering what they can do in the ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That fluff in between matches. Like, you're telling me that you can't fit all this into 2 nights and make some good quality matches?
Yeah.
Like, my in hindsight, that SmackDown match with the TLC match should have been on WrestleMania 41. That would have been a cool WrestleMania moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they missed the ball on that.
But they don't have these special, like, they'll give the main event lots of time.
Yeah.
But they don't give the tags, like, those special kind of times anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, you gotta find a way to do it. Like, stop the fluff in between matches.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Like, if I'm watching WrestleMania, I don't need a video package of the last year of how you got to this Mania match.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm going to watch a WrestleMania match anyway.
Yeah. Well, and they do it because
and you can tell these stories in 1 minute.
Yeah.
You can have the recap in 1 minute.
Yeah. You do it because you don't know what person is going to watch their first WrestleMania and have not kept up with current storylines. So you have to keep them reminded. That's why shows like, for example, like Supernatural, like, you have your A storyline for that season, and then you have your monster of the week here and there, but you have a main storyline. And they always say, they always show you what happened over the last few episodes leading to the next episode in the main storyline. They do it on the X-Files. They do it so that the casual person or the person who might not have ever watched your show or your WrestleMania has an idea about what's going on, why this match is important. But you're right. I mean, a 3-minute fluff piece is not necessary. The other thing I suggest, if you're going to keep 2 nights, I would rather see 10 matches, 5 on night 1, 5 on night 2, that have meat to the bones, where you have substantial 18, 20-minute matches where you can really showcase the story and the talent, rather than having 18 or 20 matches that have no bearing. Like, I don't want to see whatever internet superstar, content creator to come in and get a spear by.
My beef is you don't get those Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man Savage matches like WrestleMania 3. You don't get that anymore.
Nope.
That's because that's not what WWE cares about anymore.
Yeah. Well, and the thing to remember too is, I mean, we fondly remember. I always say that my entryway into wrestling was WrestleMania 3, and it was that match, Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man. But that was not a long match. It was 6 minutes. I mean, it didn't last very long.
It seemed a lot longer than that.
But it was poetry. It was pure poetry. And now you have to deal with shorter attention spans, social media, all this crap that is going on around your brand. And so you just got to start throwing stuff at people. People are not going to, you're not going to see an Iron Man match at a WrestleMania anymore. You're not going to get a 60-minute Iron Man match anymore. Nobody has the patience or wants to invest that kind of time if you're a casual fan. Guys like us would, I can't tell you the number of times I've watched 60-minute Iron Man matches and have loved every second of it. So we are at the end of the show, which means that we have to knock out a few things before we say our goodbyes. If you want to get in touch with us, go on your computer, type away on the keyboard. All the links are down below. Now, if you want to showcase how much you love Adrian Adonis, because Adrian Adonis had a few matches in some of these cards that we have said were not very good. Adrian Adonis has his own Pro Wrestling Tees store, and you can go there and get an amazing, adorable Adrian Adonis shirt at ProWrestlingTees.com/Adrian Adonis. Now, if you want to support the show and the AFW network and keep Helen in donuts for the rest of her life, all you have to do is go to ProWrestlingTees.com/effing wrestling and get all of your effing wrestling gear. We have shirts on shirts on shorts. That's how we roll. That's how we do it. So while you go get a shirt, make sure you go on YouTube, click like, click subscribe, and hit that little bell, because that's going to tell you when we go live each and every week. So with that being said, on behalf of Canada Dry, on behalf of EVP Joe, I am the JFB.
So sometimes in life, you get knocked on your ass and depression or whatever. Now, you have a choice to let depression or grief envelop you, to take you down, to take you out. It's like anything. If you do not exercise, you will get fat.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you have to work to get out of the depression. You have to work to get out of it. If you do not fight, you will lose.
Yep.
It's like anything. If two guys come up on you and start beating you up, if you don't fight, you're gonna get your ass kicked.
Yep.
So you gotta fight. You're in a tough battle against two guys, but I'm guaranteed you'll scare them away if you're at least throwing haymakers. And that's the same thing with depression and mental health. If you come at it and you're determined to get out of it, you'll get out of it.
Yeah.
So raise your fist in the air and say it with me, put the devil in a sharpshooter and just keep
Fight.
Worst episode ever.
Thanks for tuning in. This has been Tony Schiavone for the All Fan Wrestling Network.